There are no more questions from the judges. Thank you, Team C. And I call upon the next team, Team D. Their topic for today is From Management to Cure, using emerging tools to crack the code of life. And they would be highlighting the molecular and genetic tools which are available to us for investigation and treatment. The Team D.
Hello, hello, hello. Sorry, mic. Hello, 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 hello.
Don't just mask the aching sores. Find the cure and heal them. Good morning, everyone. Today, we, the team from Amrita, are going to present on management to cure, emerging tools to crack the code of life.
At the center of this exploration is the DNA molecule, often referred to as the code of life. Understanding this molecular script, we have achieved many possibilities in AI and making medicine better.
Diseases at its root often stem from cellular issues, either the loss of fundamental cells or the malfunction of existing ones. If cells are lost, we can replace them, and if they malfunction, we can correct them. But the ultimate goal, a true cure.
How many of you have sat beside a loved one who's been ill for a long time? Felt the quiet weight of worry, the hope in the slightest of victories, and the constant struggle to wake up each day? The burden of chronic diseases is increasing globally. And with this, the thing that comes to our mind is that these diseases don't have actual cures. But can we actually do anything about this?
To bring this to more concern, we have Mr. Suresh Kumar, who's a 38-year-old male with a relevant history of slowness in daily activities, stiffness in the right side of the body, and history of anxiety and depression. His family history was quite significant, with both brothers and mother having a relevant history and similar symptoms to what presented by him. He was diagnosed as a young onset of Parkinson's disease.
Illness doesn't just confide in cells or tissues, it manifests in real life. For most people, life flows. Waking up in the morning, going to work, making breakfast, laughing with friends. But for Suresh, this rhythm was disrupted, and it was significantly affecting him and his life.
When we just thought that nothing can be done about this, we were introduced to revolutionary tools lying in the palm of modern medicine. The three principles to hack the code of life: reading the protein, reprogramming the genome, and rewriting the genome came into picture. These were brought to life using AI, stem cell, and gene editing. We will be taking you through multiple paths to reach a common goal. A bird's eye view on what the future holds, and not in depth because each topic is a symposium on its own.
Moving to the first part of our symposium, that is decoding the protein structure, it's important to dive deeper into the pathogenesis of Parkinson's disease, as in our case, with the SNCA gene mutation and alpha-synuclein protein mutation. So mutations in the alpha-synuclein protein or the SNCA gene can occur via two mechanisms. First is the DNA multiplication, either duplication or triplication, or a single nucleotide missense mutation. These mutations lead to the abnormal aggregation and the pathological alpha-synuclein production, which forms and aggregates in the Lewy bodies, leading to the motor and the non-motor symptoms of Parkinson's disease.
So here we come with an important question. Have you ever opened a lock with a key and not looked at the lock? Well, there you are. You have actually done what drug discovery is right now driven by. We, don't have actually protein structures before AlphaFold. That's where AlphaFold stepped in. It helped us to develop, improve, and excel in the drug discovery fields and help breakthrough innovations.
A major change occurred with the coming of deep learning. Earlier, protein structures were simply predicted based on limited databases, and it was very time-consuming. But with the intervention of AlphaFold, we can predict the protein structures more rapidly in a limited time with near atomic accuracy. The result, it has opened the vast expansion of structural biology knowledge in front of us. This leap is so huge that the old things are as insignificant as a rotary phone.
In this graph, we can see that over
The process was slow. So the AlphaFold 1, as we can see, it could only predict a limited number of proteins. However, with AlphaFold, the recent version, we have over 2 million structures of proteins predicted right now, as of right now.
until 2020, the progress was very slow since we had
X-ray crystallography.
Okay. Until 2020, this progress was very slow because we relied on methods like X-ray crystallography. AlphaFold 1 and AlphaFold 2, which were launched in 2018 and 2020, helped as complete game changers. AlphaFold 2 has helped in 200 million protein structures, all known to man.
We just saw how AI and AlphaFold could help us in predicting protein structures. But what if, instead of only understanding the diseases, we could actually reverse them? What if we could replace the lost cells, regrow the lost tissues, and also replace entire organs? Sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? But it has become a reality using stem cells. Stem cells are basically stem cells. So stem cells are basically undifferentiated blank slates that can be converted into any other cell of the human body. They have the ability to regrow and divide, which other cells lack. Thus, these cells can be used for healing and regenerative therapies and have brought a major revolution in medicine.
In 2012, Dr. Shinya Yamanaka discovered that from normal cells, we can reprogram them to form stem cells. How cool is that? Using just 4 transcription factors, now known as Yamanaka factors, we can create iPS cells, induced pluripotent stem cells. Imagine taking the cells from a person and converting them into something which was not there: neuron, insulin producers, and even cardiac cells.
Now let's see how this will work in our patient. So we had Mr. Suresh with the problem of loss of dopaminergic neurons. What was the solution offered by our scientists? They programmed the 4 factors using the iPS cells and formed floor plate-like cells, which were the precursor of dopaminergic neurons. The success rate was out of 6, 4 patients developed 20% motor improvement without medication.
But this does not just stop with the brain. India, being the diabetes capital of the world, with over 100 million cases, it is necessary that we find an alternative to control the situation. As we can see in this graph, there are erratic spikes of glucose levels. 4 months post-stem cell transplant, we can see that the glucose levels are almost normal. And on the completion of 8 months, we can see that there is almost complete euglycemic control with no instance of hyperglycemia.
From Parkinson's to diabetes, stem cell therapy is moving way ahead. Here we can see few of the places where the clinical trials are either ongoing or they are approved for stem cell therapy.
But what if the problem isn't cell loss? What if it's the immune cells that are attacking the body itself, like in lupus? For our next case, we are going to explore how reprogrammed immune cells, the CAR T cells, helped a patient who was severely ill and all the methods were exhausted. Let's see case 2, which was done in association with Dr. Prashant Mehta, Senior Consultant in Amrita Hospital, Faridabad.
So this was a 33-year-old patient who was diagnosed as a refractory lupus. He was a 33-year-old male who was a US citizen of Indian origin. He was actually subjected to TYU19. It is a genetically engineered healthy donor-derived CD19 by targeting CAR T cells. He was first diagnosed in 2016. He had been hospitalized for 3 times, and at that hospitalization, we had seen elevated LFT levels with high bilirubin, which were returning to normal. The ejection fraction was around 20 to 25%.
The patient and his family was keen on getting CAR T cell therapy as they had exhausted and they were not able to get access to any of the US clinical trials. The therapy, even though it was due to compassionate use, it marked a major milestone for Amrita Medical College, as we are the first CAR T center in North India.
CAR T cell therapy, or chimeric antigen receptor cell therapy. In this therapy, we extract the T cell from the patient, reprogram it to express the chimeric antigen receptor, CAR. The CAR receptor now on the cell can recognize the tumor cell and destroy it. That's how simple it is. Now that we know about the CAR T cell therapy, you must be thinking, how is this actually possible in our body?
CRISPR. There are rare moments in science when a technology doesn't just change one field, it changes everything. CRISPR is one such moment. Clustered, regularly interspaced, short palindromic repeats. Long name, right? It existed in nature long before we understood it as bacterial immune system.
It's basically a bacterial immune system which can be used as molecular scissors. The mechanism, it is guide RNA and the Cas9 proteins.
What else has CRISPR achieved? Casgevy, an FDA-approved software tech for sickle cell anemia and beta thalassemia, approved in the US, UK, and the EU. Data shows that 93.5% patients under observation did not develop any vaso-occlusive crisis post this treatment. We were just talking about potential cures, but now we are actually doing it.
We have moved way beyond cutting the DNA. Using base editing and prime editing, we can make changes in the genome without actually cutting the DNA. And epigenetic editing helps in turning off or turning on the genome using.
We have enhanced versions of CRISPR like dCas9, which allows us to alter the gene and work with it without actually making much changes or cutting it. We have other things like Cas-Mini that allow us to reach the smaller tissues where CRISPR, by and large, couldn't reach.
Gene editing is not just editing individuals, it's editing generations. Applications of these tools are rapidly advancing. The clinical trials are working with multiple diseases, Huntington's, Alzheimer's, SLE, HIV, ALE, and osteoporosis, malaria, antibiotic resistance, etc.
Today, we stand at breathtaking crossroads, whether we should take these methods or not. While we do so, we should be careful about the challenges that we can face. The long-term safety and efficacy, ethical concerns, and the scalability and the cost of such products.
With this unprecedented power also comes great responsibility. As we come to the end of this symposium, we need to remember that along with the technical aspects of this software or this technology, we also need to remember that we need to grow in the ethical, in the humane, and in other aspects so that all these challenges can be covered. It is important that we not only develop such softwares, but also allow them to reach to the entire humanity. In the end, we would like to say that
we heal,
not divide.
that we live, not leave behind.
Thank you. We would like to thank our mentor, Dr. Arun Kumar Harith. Thank you.
It was a detailed presentation on the integration of emerging cutting-edge innovations and technologies in the healthcare system. Now the house is open for the question answer session by the judges.
Hi, thanks for your presentation. You mentioned in the end about ethical issues. What are some of these ethical issues? Would you like to throw light on some of them, please?
Yes, sir. So, sir, since at the very basic, if we talk about, thank you for your question, sir. So, at the very basic, if we're talking about issues, we are actually manipulating with the gene itself. So, here we are trying to play God without actually knowing the vast plethora of the genes and the vast plethora of science that occurs. So, since we are not aware of what the possibilities are, risks are there to produce unintended effects. So, it's important to be cautious. And also, these powers can be misused by people to generate new diseases rather than curing the existing ones.
For example, designer babies. We have this new concept which can be done using CRISPR, which is an ethical concern. If we want to insert some other gene, then people may want to create super babies.
Thank you. Now, huge round of applause for this team. The next team is Team E, and the topic is TB or not TB, scalable interventions bridging gaps in the tuberculosis care cascade. Now, Team E can start the presentations.
Check.
Hello.
These tragic stories. Hello.
Hello. Mahesh is a poor day.
Kavita is 24 years old.
Jyotiachi.
What can she do?
Kavita is 24 years old, vivacious and bubbling with life. For she's about to get married, but she's scared now. She's losing weight. She's been coughing. Sometimes she wakes up with night sweats. She knows what this means and yet chooses to keep it a secret.
What can she do? The mere threat of TB would jeopardize her wedding and ruin her aspirations. Perhaps if society didn't stigmatize her curable condition, she could have been free of this curse.
Mahesh is a poor daily wage worker and a proud father of 2 little girls. He works all day, every day to put them through school. However, he's been coughing for weeks now and yesterday noticed blood in his cough. He knows it's not a good sign, but visiting the nearest hospital is a full day's task.
Can he do that? If missing a day's work means his children sleep hungry that night, that's not a choice anyone should have to make. But what can Mahesh do without access to healthcare within his own village?
Jyotiachi turns 72 next month. She lives all alone and had recently begun treatment for TB. But lately, it felt as if the pills were doing more harm than good. Her stomach hurt and her joints ached, and she vomited out almost everything she ate. Thus, she gave up on her pills, unable to bear the pain.
How could she have known? No one had motivated her or informed her about the consequences of giving up on her treatment, and now she is but an old, helpless lady unaware of the losing battle within her body.
These tragic stories are not in isolation. They're parts of a larger horrifying mosaic of a killer that has claimed 1.7 billion lives around the world. Afflicting 1 in every 10 people, this disease is a leading cause of death globally, with India carrying the highest burden, 27% of the world's cases. In the last 2 minutes alone, 60 new patients have been affected by tuberculosis. In these 2 minutes, 6 lives have been lost. And yet there is a sense of growing indifference towards the disease. As they say, a single death is a tragedy. 1 million is a mere statistic.
Despite the organized efforts of the NTEP to curb
this deadly disease, there are a number of challenges that impede effective outcomes, best illustrated by the TB care cascade, which outlines the various stages of navigating the disease, from initial suspicion of TB to successful completion of treatment. However, significant gaps persist within this framework, helping us pinpoint the obstacles that lead to dropping out of patients from the healthcare system.
There are many people suffering from TB in India. Out of these, 43% of the patients are lost similar to our farmer Mahesh, who are unable to access a TB test due to a host of factors. Limited awareness about TB symptoms, poverty, lack of transportation facilities, and loss of wage.
7% of patients like Kavita are lost as they fail to register for treatment due to the immense stigma they would face. Many others like her are held back at this juncture due to similar social restrictions.
13% of the patients, including Mrs. Jyoti, have severe misconceptions about treatment initiation, notwithstanding the long duration of treatment with its unforgiving side effects.
Thus, we, Team Surakshay, set out on our mission to bridge the gaps in the TB care cascade. As a first step, we came up with the novel idea of conducting a qualitative multi-stakeholder study, the first of its kind that consolidates the viewpoints of the three major stakeholders in the NTEP.
We engaged with experts from chest medicine, community medicine, and general medicine, visited the city TB officer and TTOs, as well as PHCs in several urban and rural areas, and interacted with TB patients across various hospitals in Mumbai.
We audio-visually recorded all the interviews, transcribed them verbatim, conducted independent coding and concept identification, and finally pulled together the concepts that emerged from different interviews into common themes. These interviews helped us identify 4 overarching themes, best illustrated by these excerpts.
Lack of knowledge with regards to symptoms, spread, diet planning, and government schemes.
Stigma against tuberculosis, manifesting as social isolation and fear of a positive result.
Logistical challenges in the delivery of care, such as patient overload and lack of available diagnostic measures.
Individual variables, such as adverse effects of drugs, low socioeconomic status, migrant workers, addictions, and comorbidities. Thus, with a clear vision in mind, we embarked on 2 initiatives. One, to tackle the issues of knowledge and stigma, and the other designed to address logistical challenges.
In our quest for a solution to the stigma and gaps in knowledge regarding TB that could truly make a difference at the grassroots, we realized that mass education is key. And what better than to utilize a tool that is engaging, relatable, and easily disseminated.
Allow us to introduce you to Photovoice, an anthropological storytelling method that uses audio-visual media to share the challenges and triumphs of a survivor. It harnesses the power of social advocacy, amplifying voices of the marginalized and the overlooked.
We enlisted the help of a TB champion, a survivor trained to counsel and advocate for patients, and together crafted a concise 5-minute video. It covered crucial topics such as symptoms and treatment options, government-run programs, as well as nutrition advice from a dietitian, all based on the findings of our first study.
To gain insight into effectively supporting such stigmatized communities, we attended Alcoholics Anonymous meetings as well as counseling for HIV patients. Behavioral and communication models were integrated into the Photovoice with rigorous validation of video drafts by physicians from departments of medicine, community medicine, psychiatry, as well as dietitians and TB officers.
We studied the 24 administrative wards of Mumbai to select the ones with the highest burden of TB cases. The Photovoice video was then showcased to patients and families in renowned hospitals in wards and long queues, turning wait times into educational moments. Through our 8-point pre-validated questionnaire, we found significant improvements in knowledge and awareness, especially in understanding symptoms, disease transmission, and government schemes. Since breaking stereotypes and stigma is extremely stiff, we aim to hit at the Achilles heel of this challenge with our second study, Starting Young. This is in alignment with the ACSM's initiatives by the GOI, which includes active engagement with schools to raise awareness and promote healthier lifestyles early on.
After securing permissions from the administrative authorities and the IEC, we began our study targeting students of grades 5th to 9th. After informed consent from teachers and assent from children, we showcased the Photovoice video before them following baseline data collection. The data suggests that children are often more receptive to new information, and witnessing the profound impact of a single Photovoice unfold before us was a truly remarkable experience.
भरोसा देने के लिए आप बता सकते हो कि अगर तुमने पूरा कोर्स किया तो तुम ठीक हो जाओगे। अगर पूरा 6 मंथ तक कंटिन्यू कर लिया तो ठीक हो जाओगे और तुम्हारे फ्रेंड्स और फैमिली भी साथ में रहेगी।
In a sample of 200 school-going participants, the mean pre-score was 0.357 and the mean post-score was 6.135, showing a significant difference via PET test. The proportion of students scoring 4 and above, indicating appropriate knowledge and attitudes towards tuberculosis, showed a significant increase from baseline to 1 month as per the McNamara test. These children predominantly resided in slum rehabilitation areas and slums, which are hotspots for tuberculosis transmission. Periodic interventions in children are crucial for long-term behavioral change. Our 3 and 6 month follow-up studies showed mean values of 6.43 and 7.01 respectively through repeated ANOVA testing.
Our initial study established Photovoice as a promising tool for TB education, while our follow-up study revealed its potential in instigating genuine shifts in children's health attitudes. The ACSM model thus holds the promise to evolve into a movement where those affected share their experiences and help break down the stigma together.
The break of TB as a silent pandemic, community-based screening and active case-finding efforts are the key actions for the countries to reach their ambitious target. To enable this, NITI Aayog has established AI for All to accelerate TB elimination efforts and to promote the creation of a tool that would be useful for cough-based and non-invasive testing of tuberculosis.
We managed to learn that certain AI tools like machine learning have a demonstrated ability to identify unique features in cough sound signals that are not detectable by human ears.
Cough spectral analysis has revealed differences in the timbre and tonal quality of cough, which in turn can assist diagnosis. Researchers have successfully applied statistical classifiers to distinguish between diseases such as asthma, chronic bronchitis, pneumonia, pertussis, interstitial lung disease, and COVID-19. So, we decided to make our very own screening device for TB, Suraksha.
This was in concordance with the NTEP 2023 report, which emphasizes on the need of an inexpensive, feasible and acceptable screening tool with a high sensitivity. With the help of a team of computer science engineers led by Dr. Sandeep Utmare, professor at VJTI Mumbai, we developed an artificial intelligence and machine learning based cough sound analysis software, Suraksha, while utilizing CODA-TB. CODA-TB is a secure dataset of over 500,000 cough sound samples from over 6 countries, including India, along with a worldwide challenge to develop a screening tool for TB. We gained access to this dataset after undergoing a thorough screening process and an interview.
In the coming weeks, we intend to pitch it to the health authorities and further test it on ground, where the patients can simply download the app, enter their symptoms, record an audio clip of their cough, and upload the data anonymously to our server. Our backend server converts the audio clip into a spectrogram and applies a machine learning model to classify between cough sounds produced by TB patients versus healthy individuals or those with other respiratory conditions. The result is then returned back to the test tube. Our software, trained and tested on the CODA-TB dataset, has a 96.67% accuracy, 97.1% sensitivity, and 95.68% specificity.
We are positive that such a specimen-free technology is potentially scalable, point of care, provides rapid results, and will effectively complement the available standard diagnostic modalities. It also satisfies WHO's TRIAGE test sensitivity and specificity criteria. Don't just take our word for it. Let us hear what the City TB officer, Dr. Varsha Puri, has to say about our interventions.
I think this is also a very big leap into bringing up the presumptive cases, because as we see here is a lot many times the cough or the loss of weight is not being actually thought of in terms of TB, and they're taking a local treatment for that, and then when patients are coming back to us with a more grievous form of the disease. So once you do this cough sound, I'm sure that you catch up the patients who may be prone to this disease. As it is a point of care which you're going into the community, so this will not waste on the time or the travel factor and the money aspect of it. So you're approaching to their house, you'll not be covering a single patient, the whole family will be there for whom the sound will be done, and we can definitely go a huge leap in terms of eliminating TB by 2025.
Team Suraksha's efforts culminated in a major milestone when both of our projects were selected for presentation at the India Innovation Summit held at Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi, organized by the NTEP and the ICMR. We had the golden opportunity to present in front of key dignitaries, including the Honorable Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Shri J.P. Nadda, representatives from Niti Aayog and the National Strategic Plan, and also the Chief Medical Officer of BSC.
Our projects have received widespread appreciation from the representatives of CDC, WHO, ICMR, USA, as well as TB champions themselves, along with keen interest from potential collaborators and investors.
These conversations reinforce the stark reality. TB remains a deeply entrenched challenge, and the time for bold, innovative action is now. To summarize, we kick-started our journey with our first study, in which in-depth interviews, followed by a thorough thematic analysis, revealed the urgent need to alleviate stigma surrounding TB and integrate advanced diagnostic modalities.
Following it up with our second and third studies, we showcased Photovoice to school-going children and adults, observing significant positive changes in their attitude, thus suggesting its potential to morph into a mobilizing social campaign.
Finally, in our fourth study, we designed a mobile software powered by AI and ML, which holds great promise as a non-sputum, non-invasive screening approach that aims to revolutionize TB detection in India. So imagine with us here today,
A country where the path of every Mahesh, Jyoti and Kavita is lit with knowledge, they need not struggle to find a way.
It is now time to turn this imagination into reality and put our efforts to the test. Starting today, let's break free and let's get it off our chest.
I request the judges if they have any questions for the team.
I think you guys have done a wonderful, innovative but practical approach to the most common disease of India. Globally, we are on such a high load, and if you can educate at an earlier age and they can point out few of their family members and direct them to the care, I think that one aspect will go a long way. So I thought, rather than question, I like the way you people have worked on it. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Hi, thanks for your presentation. Just if you could throw a little bit of light on how you arrived at your sensitivity, specificity figures, if you could get just very briefly.
Thank you for your question, sir. So we have used the CODA TB data set, which has a it is a cough-based sample. It has around 500,000 cough sounds. So we used a model, AI-based ML model, where we divided the data set into 80% and 20%. The 80% data was used for training the model, and 20% was used for testing. And on the 80% data, we varied 4 hyperparameters mainly. And we tweaked those to arrive at this accuracy and specificity, so that this can be deployed into the real world to actually screen for tuberculosis.
So little non-technical question. I was little intrigued by your posture and the stance. The non-speakers have the heads down. So would you recommend any kind of presentations where the heads up posture would be preferred?
So the intention was to just have the attention focused on the person speaking, so that, sometimes we tend to involuntarily make facial expressions, so that should not distract anyone watching. That is why we decided to go ahead with a uniform stance of looking down. And only the person who's speaking would have their heads up so that their voice is thrown out clearly. So.
If there are no more questions or comments from the judges, thank you, Team E. It was a wonderful presentation indeed.
Thank you so much.
Now I call upon the last team for today, Team F, to please come on the stage and start with their technical check. They are going to speak on the topic Dual Perspectives on Rare Diseases, an analysis of diagnostic delays and management challenges from patients and physicians. Team F, please.
Hello. Imagine being told your child is suffering from a disease so rare, even your doctor has never heard of it. Imagine waiting years, not for a cure, but for a name, living each day with uncertainty, with symptoms no one can explain.
Then, finally, the diagnosis is confirmed. And here comes a new heartbreak. The treatment exists, but it is priced beyond reach, costing more than a lifetime's income.
And the worst part, no one is willing to listen. This is not fiction. It is the silent struggle of countless rare disease warriors in India. Unseen, unheard, and ignored.
We don't speak from the ivory towers of academia. We speak from the trenches of empathy and the front lines of injustice, where every unanswered question is a call to act.
Why are these patients invisible? Why are physicians underprepared? Above all, why silence has become a policy?
Today, we bring voice to the voiceless and replace data where there was a doubt. And we hold up a mirror against healthcare system that is overdue for change.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Syllables of Prayer, a theme that is not just a title, but a cry echoing from the depths of forgotten lives. It tears through the silence, forcing us to confront the unbearable truth of children growing up without answers, of parents counting days like heartbeats, and of dreams slowly fading while the world looks away.
Today, in this room of thinkers and change makers, we are called to question the system, challenge the norms, and move from awareness to action with empathy and purpose.
India has no strict definition for rare diseases, but those affecting fewer than 1 in 2,500 individuals are generally considered as rare. In India, there are 70 million people who are suffering with rare diseases. Globally, numbers soars 300 million. That's not a niche, that's a silent epidemic.
National policy for rare diseases groups them by treatment availability and cost, with common examples in India like culture disease, SMA, and Pompe disease.
This study was designed with the following aims and objectives: to identify the key challenges faced by doctors in diagnosing and managing rare diseases,
Evaluate patient experiences during diagnosis and management of rare diseases,
to examine institutional or systemic issues hindering care delivery for rare disease patients,
to propose actionable solutions and policy recommendations for improved management and support.
Approval from Institutional Ethical Committee was obtained. and informed consent was taken from study participants before the interview. Complete anonymity and confidentiality was maintained throughout the study.
Between January and April 2025, we carried out an observation cross-section study at Mahatma Gandhi Memorial Hospital in Warangal. 2 separate questionnaires, one for doctors and other for patients, were designed using Rare Disease Education Scale and Diagnostic Odyssey Scale.
Questionnaires were translated into regional languages and distributed via email, social media networks, and personal interactions among patients suffering with rare diseases. Data pertaining to physicians was gathered by face-to-face interviews.
The study included 41 patients and 23 physicians selected to purposive sampling. The data collected was entered into RedCap and analyzed using SPSS software.
Questionnaire was prepared based on awareness, diagnosis, genetic testing, and treatment of rare diseases. The data gave us critical gaps between rare disease management in patients and physicians.
Notably, 78% of physicians had treated at least one patient with rare disease, and 87% of physicians had encountered patients with unclear or undiagnosed diseases.
Lack of principles of diagnosis, limited access to genetic testing, and delay in diagnosis are major barriers faced by physicians.
Among patients, 64% experienced a diagnostic delay exceeding over 2 years, and over 70% were unaware of their condition prior to diagnosis, indicating lack of awareness and recognition about rare diseases.
Patients often face the early diagnostic prodigy, and about 60% of them are consulted more than 5 doctors for getting diagnosed for their diseases.
76% faced initial incorrect diagnosis, often being misdiagnosed with anemia, arthritis, and other viral illness.
Cost of care, lack of access to specialists, emotional trauma, cultural stigma, and misinformation are the critical barriers faced by the patients.
Many non-governmental organizations have come forward to support the treatment and registration of rare diseases in India. And one of the most prominent among them is the Indian Organization for Rare Diseases. Established in 2005, IORT plays a critical role in maintaining a national registry for rare diseases and advocating for better diagnosis, treatment, and policy support.
We had an opportunity to interview Dr. Ramaya Mutiala, the CEO and founder of IORT. Dr. Mutiala is a globally respected scientist and a healthcare advocate with extensive experience in pharmaceutical and biotechnological industries, especially in the areas of rare diseases. Let's hear a bite from him.
Rare disease patients in India face several challenges, but for me, the most significant challenge is the lack of access to affordable treatments. Only 5% of rare disease patients have treatments that are not cures. In most cases, death is the end point. I'm sad to say that although India is considered the pharmacy bowl of the world, orphan drugs are not made available to Indian patients. Rare diseases, for the most part, are genetic disorders. At this time, more than 7,000 rare diseases are known. Doctors are trained to recognize common diseases, but not rare diseases, as medical professionals are not taught to diagnose rare diseases. Many rare diseases have symptoms that mimic more common conditions, leading to misdiagnosis. Some rare diseases require specialized testing that is not readily available at standard hospitals. Life-saving treatments for rare disease patients are often unaffordable due to high research and development costs and limited government funding. If the goal is to improve the accessibility and affordability of life-saving drug treatments for rare disease patients, here are my 3 suggestions. Number 1, the government could implement insurance regulations to include rare diseases in schemes such as Ayushman Bharat Yojana. It is one of India's most popular government health insurance schemes. At the moment, there are 19 types of government health insurance schemes exist. Rare diseases should be covered by government and private insurance schemes. The National Policy for Rare Disease Treatments 2021 allows 50 lakhs of rupees for class 3 diseases. This fund should be revised for other categories as well. Number 2, more than 600 FDA-approved orphan drugs have expired patents or drug exclusivity or both. Therefore, all these drugs can be manufactured as generics and made available at affordable prices. Further, the Indian government should provide several incentives such as tax breaks, grants, etc. to encourage Indian drug companies to manufacture orphan drugs. Number 3, rare disease patients comprises only 5% of the population and are scattered throughout the country. Regular pharmacy stores are unlikely to keep stock of orphan drugs. Therefore, Jan Aushadhi Kendras, nationwide government pharmacies, should stock orphan drugs. This will enable patients to access them much more quickly, much more inexpensively. I dream that hopefully it will happen one day. I want all rare disease patients to have equal opportunities to those with common diseases.
Sir, words describe the problem and solution to rare diseases.
This is not a healthcare system, it is a maze without a map. The data also gave us clarity, a vision of what could be done.
In India, a rare disease doesn't knock. It crashes into lives uninvited and unaffordable. That's why families are turning to crowdfunding as a lifeline. I've personally witnessed a father from Hyderabad who have raised 16 crore rupees through social media to save his daughter with spinal muscular atrophy. It wasn't just a campaign, it was a countdown to life or death.
And we realize that the problem is not about the rarity of the disease. It's about lack of awareness, limited access to specialized care, and insufficient accountability within our healthcare systems.
From data to diagnosis, the study becomes more than a research. It becomes a call to redefine medical education,
To restructure public health priorities,
build centers of excellence that not just only treat a disease but despair.
we call for national rare disease registries, for policies that are not just well written but well funded, for insurance models that see these lives as worth saving regardless of rarity. This is not just a work of science, it is a work of conscience.
Because what we have learned from these patients and physicians is this: they are not looking for miracles, they are asking for a chance, a fair diagnosis, a fight, and a future that is not defined by negligence.
Let me leave you with this. Some battles are fought on fields.
These are fought in hospital queues.
Some heroes wear capes.
These wear patient gowns.
And some revolutions begins with riots. And this one begins with recognition.
Let this not be an end of a presentation. Let it be a beginning of a collective promise that no child will wait years for a definitive diagnosis.
That no parent will carry the burden of $1 million treatment alone. That no disease, no matter how rare, will be treated as an afterthought.
We owe them that, not out of pity, but out of principle. Together, we honor the courage of those living with rare conditions, and we commit to a future where
Rare doesn't mean neglected.
Thank you, Jai Hind.
Now the house is open for the question answers.
Thanks for your presentation. In a country that's battling with resource constraint, the argument that will often be made is that do you distribute your limited resources amongst those illnesses that are more prevalent, or do you divert your resources to the relatively rare diseases? So what would be your argument or your pitch against somebody who makes a statement like that?
Thank you for your question, sir. Rare diseases, the policies which rare diseases create a policy paradox.
even though rare diseases, when considered individually, compromise a small population, when they are taken as a collectively, they have much more prevalence. As per National Rare Disease Policy 2021, there are nearly 70 to 92 million patients in India suffering from rare diseases. So if we allocate the funds for development of national rare disease registries and establishment of rare disease clubs which integrate with patient advocacy groups and help in guiding the patients who are already suffering from rare diseases, they take the newly diagnosed cases and refer them to the hospital so that they can get a specialized care. If the government recognizes the patient advocacy groups and provides incentives to them, it will be very much helpful to them. In China, when the patient advocacy groups, there are nearly 43 patient advocacy groups, which are out of 43, only 20 have a functioning website, and only 2 of them have an office. If India provides funds for the allotment for rare disease treatment, then we can prevent these incidents.
A very detailed presentation. Thank you, Team F.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
With this, we have come to the end of this symposium. We thank our esteemed judges for sparing their valuable time. They deserve a round of applause.
And also kudos to all the participating teams who have brought topics which are diverse, and interestingly, many of the topics were from the community. So kudos to the participating teams. Results will be declared only on 6th during the valedictory function. Till then, enjoy the enriching experience of academics in this conference. Thank you.
The delegates and the participants are requested to be seated for the performance. You heard an exemplary talk in the morning, but allow us to introduce you to a different facet of the same personality.
He's not only a great researcher, he's a great musician too. Sir's work on precision genome editing and his experience with Indian classical music informs his approach to science. Furthermore, the rigor and creativity required to pursue Indian classical music inspires him to think creatively when it comes to seeking answers in science.
Now, without further ado, we'd like to showcase how science and music can merge to become one in our next event, Sangam.
We request everyone to wait patiently while the stage is being set.
Check, sir.